as you know, the deck that we're going to be using today is in our Canvas course, but Melissa also just put this in the Melissa just put this in our chat, which I'll just paste this one more time here. And there we go. Awesome. And then we'll just continue forward here. So first of all, just so you know, there's a sign in here to use this link. So oops. And Melissa will put that in the chat too. She's keeping track of where these links are and where that's in the deck here. And then we have some instructions for subs there. Just by introduction of who's here, we'll just kind of go through and reintroduce ourselves. I know I'm third on the list, Katie Dewey Hill, but I'm a quality instruction coordinator, and I get to work with instructional coaching and professional learning standards. And Melissa's letting me play with the STEM group because it's a fun professional learning design, and I was happy to be a part of it.
And Katie's awesome, so that's why.
And thank you, Melissa. And that's also helps me be here because Melissa's nice to me. So and then we'll just have everybody else on the list. Kind of, Melissa, go ahead and just remind everybody who you are.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here for our day 4. I'm so glad you came back. That's great. I'm Melissa Mendenhall, and I'm the elementary science and STEM specialist for the Utah State Board of Education. So I have a great job because I get to work with you.
Thank you, Melissa. And then Nathan, would you mind just reminding us who you are? Or we can just tell him.
He's on, but he had a lot of background noise, he said, so he's listening. So Nate is my supervisor. He's the the coordinator of the STEM team, and he is amazing. So we're lucky to have him joining us and helping us as well.
Awesome, thank you. And then Rachel.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see everybody again. I'm Rachel College, Educational Leadership Specialist at the Utah State Board of Education, working with all things leadership. So I'm excited to be here with all of you school leaders.
And she too is awesome.
You're awesome. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And we've got our teams, which I'll show you that list here in a second. And we've got our awesome consulting coaches who are working with those teams. So as we move forward here, we just want to kind of remind you the overall intentions of the Institute itself is that you're engaging in professional learning related to the creation of effective STEM ecosystems. The process that you've already been doing is to create a vision of STEM for your context, what happens in your LEA, and to design an action plan for obtaining your vision for STEM, including the systems of support. So if we have a vision, but we don't think about how that's going to happen, it really doesn't do much for us. And then how you're going to implement your plan into year 2. And then we have our today learning intentions is you're going to be participating in that overall creation of effective STEM ecosystems professional learning experience, continuing with your vision, and then an action plan, including your systems of support. So here's how we'll know if we got there is our success criteria here, that you have refined your vision further for your context. You've engaged in that professional learning together to create that ecosystem, refining your action plan, and then your plan to inform stakeholders, because you can't do this without them. They're part of that collective efficacy that's going to make this work. And we'll make sure that there's time for those pieces. So just to kind of make sure that that happens is being present, which we know is sometimes a challenge on a Zoom meeting to be focused on that meeting, actively listening and asset minded, focusing on the strengths that will help you to move this forward. So this is our list of assignments here. These are all in the Canvas course. And can I just see like a thumbs up or a thumbs down, some emoji? You can turn on your camera if you want to. As far as being able to access the Canvas course and find what you need to in there. So just give me a thumbs up if yes, I've been able to access and find what I need to in the Canvas course, or that thing doesn't make any sense to me. So looking here, and I've got good thumbs up. I've got some, thank you for the thumbs up emote icons too, and for your visual, appreciate that piece. So this, as you've seen in the previous pieces, these are continuations of what you've been working on. So you're going to find yourself, you maybe are turning in the revised copy of your document as you go forward here in the Canvas course. So thank you for being on that and making sure that that happens. So these pieces are all going to be part of this. Oh, and sorry. And the pieces that, you know, you've done from before, your day 3 business that you'll be building on today. So these are your breakout room assignments. And so what we're going to do is whenever we open those for the specific LEA-based STEM campuses where you're working together to hash through those visions, these are your room numbers. So take a moment, take your pen, write down your room number because that's where you're going to go every time. So just, we'll show the slide again when it comes time to move that piece forward, but just so you know, that's your room. And then accessing the Canvas course, you're going to identify the norm you want to focus on today as a team, upload that assignment here. So Melissa, I just need a reminder real quick. Are we, sorry, real quick. Are we going to breakout rooms to do this piece?
Yeah, let's give all of our teams like 5 minutes to just get in their breakout rooms. And even if you're all in the same room, your coach will want to join you. So go to the breakout room, determine your what your norm you want to focus on today, and then you can put it in the assignment or you can upload it in the chat. Just it'll help us connect and get things going. And besides, I learned how to rename breakout rooms. So, you know, it's a cool day today. So.
And as a reminder, only one member of your team has to turn that in. So that,
oh, good point.
Yeah. So that's, you know, so just talk about it through, pick a scribe and have that person turn it in. We're just going to take about 5 minutes. And Melissa, I don't see,
I'll open all rooms. They're ready to go. So they are open. And you should be able to go to your room.
And we'll call you back in about 5 minutes. Melissa, I'm going to pause recording.
Here are the troops.
Hello,
Okay.
everyone. Thank you for engaging in that piece and reconnecting with your team. I'm going to share my screen again, so don't forget about that. Thank you for also posting your team's norm in the chat. Let's just see that if somebody can just maybe copy paste here of your. I know we're all turning that into Canvas, but if we could just share across the teams just so others can see kind of what your goal is to work on, that'd be great as you talk about. So just, yep, thank you. Being present, being asset minded. I think these are all really good things too, because sometimes, you know, it's like, this is going to be our team's theme for the day and helping keep each other accountable for those pieces is great. Appreciate you sharing those bits in the chat there. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk through a lot of these things as we are in our group here, and just to kind of remind you of some of those pieces that are important is that, you know, that vision and action plan, we're hammering that a lot, because if we're solid and confident on that, we'll be able to speak to and defend it to those who are wondering what we're doing and why we're doing it. focusing each section that is on an aspect of STEM culture. And we'll get into what today's session's theme is in just a moment. Talking through gaining that stakeholder buy-in, because the more you introduce personalized learning, the more stakeholders need to be engaged in that process, because there's a lot of voice and choice. And so for that to be an orderly, clear process that serves students, we need the whole village, don't we? And that system of supports and taking into consideration, you remember when we learned about Noster's model of, how we can anticipate what are some barriers to success and making sure that those aren't there and reducing those. So last month we talked about principle 2, and we had our very amazing speaker come in, Dr. Carrie Snyder, had just an amazing message to share. I know that I had some thoughts that I hadn't had before, as far as like the difference between science and engineering. If you're trying to solve a problem, engineering. If you're trying to understand the way the world works, that's more science. And I liked how he had the piece of like light engineering, heavy science, light science, heavy engineering, and just understanding the difference between those two. That really was thought-provoking for me. So I appreciated those pieces. I'll just give you just a moment. Do you guys have any, as your minds are jogging back to that period, if you could in the chat, just put like one insight that maybe you remember from that talk that he shared. Let's give you a moment to think about that and recall it, and I'll be quiet so you can think. Just one takeaway from Dr. Snyder's talk, which I know that was a month ago.
Yeah, I went from
Awesome. What to integrate, how to integrate those pieces. I love that. It's all around us. Love it. I think that integration piece sometimes is like, oh, okay, that makes whatever you're integrating a lesser or a side thought, but like really just meaningfully putting it all together to connect those concepts. Oh, so the question was, what was your big takeaway from Dr. Snyder's talk from last time? What got your wheels turning at the time? Go back to the problem, right? What would we be missing if we didn't have science and engineering? Awesome. So these are like great ideas. I appreciate you guys sharing those things. And it also just kind of helping our minds go back in time a little bit to a month ago, to remembering where we come from so far. Awesome.
Hey, Katie. And
Yeah.
also, I think while Dr. Snyder's expertise was in science and engineering, I think a lot of those same lessons can be applied to math. So I felt like, we could make those transitions pretty clearly from what he said.
Well, and like that, it's about solving problems, like Sally's piece about the fig leaf, like it solved the problem, right? It reduced exposure. So as we're thinking through, it's engineering is not just machines, but it's every kind of problem that we could solve, which may involve math, which may involve science, which may involve communication, so language arts and those kinds of pieces. So this is great. So thank you for thinking through those pieces. And then afterwards, we went through and talked through our STEM vision plan and continued to make those evolutions on our ideas of what we're going to do to really build out a good, strong STEM school. So today we're going to be talking through principle 3 and talking through the bridge to STEM careers is what we're going to be working through today, and helping connect those students to not just the present, but the future. What are they preparing for? And I think the principles of STEM that I've observed, which have been powerful to me, that it's not a lot of the careers that are our students are going to land in later probably don't exist at this point. I know that, I mean, the work that I'm doing or that I, have done across my career, those roles didn't exist when I was in high school. So like, as we're thinking through those pieces, that the principles of problem solving and the principles of being able to engineer solutions and to understand what we know about science and be able to apply those concepts is really the powerful piece. Not necessarily training them how to make a widget, right? So like, we're not training them to make a widget, we're giving them skills so that they can translate those into whatever the future holds. And so we're going to be talking through those pieces today, and then also helping you have some space to build out further your plans and vision for your STEM Institute piece. So we're going to start with a little bit of cross-team networking, which may mean if you're in the same room with your team, you're going to probably need to go find a corner so that you can network with the other groups across the system. We're going to give you about 15 minutes. And this is the idea here. You've got some networking time notes here, and I think Melissa can put that in the chat for us too. This is the discussion that you're going to have in your heterogeneous networking groups. How did we refine our vision statement? Like, how did you do this on your team? What did you need to inform stakeholders about the changes to your STEM vision and action plan? How did you get feedback on those revisions? What was the feedback? And what are your next steps for continuing to gain stakeholder support? So this is the takeaway for you as you're hearing from others. What would be a good insight to maybe take back to your team when you come back together? And then why would that be relevant? And what lessons are others learning that would be helpful? So Melissa has put that into the chat there. And so this is the document that you're going to just fill out as you're talking. And this is one I believe you're going to revisit across the day too.
Yeah, so the very top of this just gives you a spot where you can record your notes so that when you go to team time, they'll be right there with you. So
that's right.
Consolidated.
Yeah, so I'm just going to share this whole screen here. So you've got, this is the space that you're going to be concerned with for the next few minutes, is just this space here. So that's what you're going to be working on individually. And then you're going to use those insights in further discussions with your team later on in the day. So I just want to get a little thumbs up from you. Do you understand what we're doing next? And if not, I need a thumbs down or a panicked look or something. All right, thank you. And if you can, with your team, try and make sure you have your camera on. It's always good and easier to discuss, especially when you got that visual feedback with one another. So Melissa's going to give us a different set of breakout rooms now. This is going to be just a random sorting. So again, if you're all in the same room, you might need to disperse for the next 15 minutes just so that you can know that you're going to be talking with other people on the Zoom. If you're not all in the same room, then it'll be real easy. So here we go. Melissa's going to put us in. Good. All right. There you go. You have your assignment, and we'll see you back here in about 15 minutes. And then I'm going to play on the record. Okay. So before we go on to the next part where we're going to dig into today's specific stuff, I would love to see in the chat, or if somebody wants to unmute, well, choose your own adventure. Was there something that got you thinking, a sentence that you heard? And so Brett, would you like to share?
Yes, we were talking a little bit about getting stakeholder feedback, and we all collectively felt a little bit lost in how to do that, needing some kind of template, or, and defining the word stakeholder, such as community partners or parents beyond our teachers, and just to have a tool to be able to share out what we're doing and why we need the feedback and have a uniformed way of getting it, because we all struggled with getting quality feedback.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that too. And I think part of these discussions too is like, what do we need? what information are we looking for that we don't have, and what are some strategies to obtain that information? So thank you for that insight, Brett. Appreciate it. Anybody else want to share? I see Sally also from Salt Lake, using those community partners. I love it. That's part of all of your practice there.
Katie, this is Sally. So, we live in a very technology rich area of the world, right? And so most of those, probably all of those companies have somebody who has somebody in our schools. So we really need to reach out to them because they are the experts. They are, it's real world stuff real world problems that they're solving. And so I feel like we really need to use tap into those resources more. And they love being asked. Like, it thrills them to come and work with our students and see, and our students just love what they're doing. I mean, it's just a great experience for everyone. So I highly recommend reaching out to those community partners. And someone mentioned in this last breakout that I was in that they had a community STEM night, which I think is a really great idea too. And yeah, just, reach out to those community partners, because we don't have to do it all by ourselves. We've got people that will help us.
No, thank you, Sally. And thank you for sharing that. I love that community STEM night. Like, that's awesome. And we do have a lot of advantages here in Utah, as the Silicon Slopes are right here, which is, becoming pretty close to what's happening in San Jose, that we have all of these things and these people available to us, and that students are seeing, like, tech jobs can be really cool places to work, and having those connections to people who really do want to share what they do. And, like, we've got, from what I understand, a lot of technology related jobs where they're having a hard time finding people with the skill set. So they're really excited to help raise up the next generation of people who can do that work. And Cleve has shared too, reaching out to stakeholders who might waver or outright oppose the STEM vision by asking for their input. It's harder to be really mad when you know that, like, your voice was requested and heard. So appreciate that piece. I think it also means that we have to be willing to hear some feedback that's contrary, and to understand that, like, we need to have tough enough skin to be able to defend what we're doing, but also, like, to hear those concerns, and because they're going to maybe raise some concerns we hadn't thought of that they're worried about, and really that consideration is really powerful. So thank you, Cleve, for sharing that piece. All right, so as we go forward, I just love to have those ideas that you were exploring just kind of in your mind, and I'm going to kick it over to Melissa for this next portion, where she's going to share kind of what is the specific professional learning we're going to be taking on today as far as Principle 3. So thank you, and Melissa.
Thanks, Katie. We're so lucky to have her helping us with the STEM Institute. She has great ideas. Today, our focus is going to be on Principle 3 in the STEM to the Fourth paper. Just kind of a reminder, we've looked at Principle 1 and Principle 2 in our past 2 days of the STEM Institute. Principle 1 looked at the idea that STEM education should advance the learning of each individual discipline. And then Principle 2 looked at, now we need to think about logical and authentic connections between and across these STEM disciplines, and really work towards integrating where there are natural connections. Today, Principle 3, we're going to look at this idea that STEM education should serve as a bridge to STEM careers. I think this is really critical. With the pandemic, I think the gap between our students has increased, and we need to help them see that there are options out there for them. So I think this Principle 3 is a good way to help us do that. So our focus on principle 3 today, let me just escape for a minute because I want to show you assignment 2. I've put it in the chat a number of times. Also, I don't know if Katie, if you could go back and pick up assignment 2 and put it back in. It looks like this, and everyone will need a copy of this because you're all going to be choosing your own adventure today. What you feel like you need to learn, where you will gain the most that you can take back to your team today. So we're going to spend the first little bit about just going back over principle 3, refreshing our memory as to what it was all about. Then I'll send you to breakout rooms with your teams to decide who's going where, what ones, what areas do we really want to cover. So I'll say, these are our breakout options. And then you can decide as a team who's going where, and you can fill in, well, session A, I'm going to go here and it's in this room. Session B, I'm going to go here. So you'll have about 40 minutes in each of those breakout rooms. And then there's places where you can take notes to take back to your team that these are important things we want to remember about this principle 3 from this breakout room that we attended. Okay, so we're going to take just about 3-4 minutes to reread pages 4 and 5, or if you're in this PowerPoint, you have it. I put them on the next 2 slides. So looking at principle 3, I want you to really think, what is this and why is it important? So you have that, and then you have kind of a table that gives some ideas of what it might look like. All right, so you can fill in that first part. Whoops, wrong assignment. Of assignment 2 right here. So what's principle 3 about? Why is it important? How does this affect what kind of should be present in our STEM culture? All right, so we'll take, let's take about 3.5 minutes of individual think time. Show me thumbs up if you understand what our task is that we're working on. All right, great. So it's 9:51. At 9:55, I'll call you back and be ready to share out, whether in chat or in person, what you felt was important and how this might affect your STEM ecosystem. Okay. Okay, my friends, let's come back together. So we had kind of on this page 4, the principle 3 explained, and then on page 5, we had recommended actions. Will you put in the chat, or if you would like to share, I would love to hear you share out for all of us to hear. What were some of the things that really stood out to you, like, oh, this is an important thing to think about. We need to consider this as we think about our STEM culture. Okay, April says we really want to get more parent involvement. I think that's a critical piece. Really good point, April. Brett says find the right model for our needs. Exactly. That's why we're here. Everyone's needs will be different. You need to create the vision and action plan that works for you. Shauna says start out with equity by offering preschool in an equitable fashion. That's definitely something to consider. What other thoughts are we having? Pamela says students don't know what they don't know. That is such a true statement. If we don't show them the options, they don't know that that option's out there. Really good point. Kim says college and career courses that promote STEM careers. These are all really critical ideas. I think something that stood out to me is this idea that student interest and confidence in STEM are strongly correlated with post-secondary success in STEM fields. And I think that kind of goes back to what we've been saying. If they don't know about it, they haven't seen that, oh, I could do this. This is something I'm interested in. They're not going to explore that. So really important thing to have. Lisa says effective STEM education prepares students to transition to any next step they choose. Love that. Excellent. Nate put the new college and career readiness standards course fits well into this conversation. Yes, it does. And Andrew put researching and applying successful models to involve underrepresented individuals in STEM really stuck out to me. I think that's important. Are we thinking about how we can help everyone, all of our students be involved in STEM? And it's not just an add-on that you get if you have all your work in or something, but it's equitable that everyone has the chance to see it. Cleve says, I noticed the phrase transition to any next step they choose. I like that we're getting at choice rather than mandated situations. I think this is really critical. How are we supporting all of our students to be able to choose for their future? So with that in mind, we are going to talk about our breakout rooms for today. So our breakout rooms, we're going to have 5 different breakout rooms. Breakout room 1 will be the STEM Action Center. They're going to talk about how they can support you in this idea, what they have to offer. Then there are 2 rooms that will be populated by the Informal Science Education Enhancement Organizations, or ICE. They are, I mean, they're amazing. There are 11 organizations now across our state that belong to ICE. And they travel around and they will come to your school and help support a grade level so that, you know, like, I don't know, Discovery Gateway supports, one of the grades they support is kindergarten. So they travel around to kindergarten classes and they have kind of a state mandate to be able to contact everyone once every 3 years. However, you can reach out to them and see if there's possibility for them to come more often. And they really help students see what's out there in the world of science and engineering. So they're a really good resource. So in the 2 breakout rooms, there'll be 1 breakout room that deals specifically with what do we have to offer for K-6, and 1 that looks at what is there for 7-12. Then in room 4, CTE is going to be there from the State Board of Education, and the new He is a new CTE specialist, amazing. I met him a couple of weeks ago. So I'm excited for him to get to meet you. And I think that it will be a really good thing to make those connections and for him to share what resources he's working on to help you with. And then our last breakout room option that you could choose is UEN. And their e-media section is coming to show you what resources do they have for you in STEM. And this would be a K-12. They've done amazing things to really collate and put into one area STEM resources. So they'll show you where there's things for math, for science, for engineering. Oh, and Cleve says UEN is also starting a teaching channel. Aren't they? I am unsure, Cleve. That's something we could ask them. So you're going to be able to choose 2 of these. You'll spend 40 minutes in each one with a 5-minute break. So what I'm going to do now is open up your team rooms and have you go to your team rooms, and you're going to spend about 7 minutes in your team room deciding who's going where. And that way you know that you have all of your bases covered for what you feel your team needs to bring back. Okay, so that's in that assignment 2, where you can kind of figure out who's going where for what session. So we'll go to team time for 7 minutes, and I'll bring you back here, give you instructions before we head to breakout rooms. All right, my friends? So I'm going to open all the rooms. Does anyone have any question about what we're doing for the next 7 minutes? Show me thumbs up if you're good to go. Okay, I'll open up all the rooms. You should be good to go to your room, to your team, so you can decide. And please let me know in the chat or just unmute if you want me to move you to any room. Okay, Pamela, I'll move you to room 2. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Show me thumbs up if you were able to plan where you're going for your 2 breakout room sessions. Oh, good. Looks like we have a plan. That is fabulous.
No, but
No, I know, but it should be on my computer.
nope.
Okay, so just to make sure that you're really clear on what will happen, you will go to session A and the rooms will be numbered and I'll have the names next to them so that you can know. We are going to take a break from 10:10 to 10:30. Please be in your room at 10:30 so that it's, I mean, there's not a lot of time. So be in your room so that they can start right at 10:30. So you'll have a break from 10:10 to 10:30. You'll go to session A when you come back from break, go right into your first session. You'll be there until about 10:15. You'll then have a 5-minute break to go right into session B, and that will go until 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, you'll be excused from that session to go to lunch, and you'll have from 12 to 1 for lunch. Please be back right at 1 o'clock because then we're going to move forward with the next task. So are we clear about what's going to happen for the next couple of hours? Show me thumbs up, you feel good. Sideways, you have a question? Okay, my friends. So we are on break now till 10:30. Please be back at your breakout room of your choice for session A at 10:30. Have a good break. Hello, everyone. We'll get started in about 1 minute, if I can talk. So be ready to start in about 1 minute. Okay, we have a few more people just joining, so we'll wait for just about 30 seconds for them to get their audio up and going. Hey, it looks like everyone that I've let in that last wave admitted is now ready to go. So I think we are ready to move on to our next section for the afternoon. And Rachel's going to take us through that. So I'll turn the time over to Rachel.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. So this is that time similar to what we've done in each of the other sessions. It's our team time. And so this is when you will be revising your vision and action plan and refining that given what each of your team members brought back from the separate breakout sessions we had today. And so as you go in, you'll have an hour as your team, and you're going to want to just debrief again on insights from the presentation. Since you've all been in different rooms, this will be, we hope, a robust conversation and how it's going to change your thoughts about your vision. So you can revise your vision statement. And then what does that look like with your goals in your action plan? Do you need to set or revise some of your goals? And so with that, you'll want to, again, keep Noster's model in mind as you're going through to do your revisions. And then there is a space in our Canvas course to upload, your assignment. And make sure you go ahead and each time you revise your vision and action plan that you upload those as well. And so that we can, help and see each time that we go through our sessions that you're able to consider these different aspects of a strong STEM culture in your schools and how you're going to be implementing your vision and action plan. So from now we have an hour, and so that will be Melissa, would you like them to come back at 1? I mean, that was fairly quick because we've done this before. 1:03, or do we want to do what, like 1:05?
Well, it's 1:03 right now. Maybe if they could come back at like 1:55, we could debrief for just a few minutes.
Excuse me. Yeah.
And just of note, everyone, next time you come on day 5, you're going to be sharing your vision and your action plan with different teams. So you're going to want to really try to get it as finalized as you can and ready to go today during this time.
Okay, so we'll plan on reconvening at 1:55.
All right, I will open all the breakout rooms.
Hey, Melissa, this is Jolie. I should be in room 7. Is that correct?
You are with which team, Jolie?
So I'm saying that because I think it's Sunset Academy.
Okay, I will move you to, can you see to move yourself?
I can totally do that.
Yeah, I believe you're accurate.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have fun.
Thanks. You too.
Easy, much better than spiders up there. Melissa, can you send me to room 2, please?
Yes, I would be happy to.
Thank you.
Coriel, would you like me to move you? Rachel, are you still there?
I am.
So, do you want to check in with Iron County? And then we also don't have a consulting coach here yet for Longview Elementary. I'll go check on one if you want to check on the other.
Yeah,
Which one would you
sure.
prefer?
I can go ahead and check on Iron, and
Okay,
that-
I'll
that
go and
works.
check on the Longview then.
okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, does anyone here need help moving to a room?
I don't. I'll be in there in just a minute, though.
Okay.
Thanks, Melissa.
Hey, Rach, how did it go?
Good, good. They're just waiting on another person from their team who's just getting on, and she's having some technical difficulties, but they think it's because she needs to restart her computer. But they do feel like they have, yeah, they feel like they have a good vision of where they're going. Once she gets there, they're feeling good. So that's
Perfect.
good. And they have more people. So it was just her, one person, and now it's multiple people. So that's good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're doing well.
Yeah, yeah. They just need. They said that as soon as she's in there, they're going to be. They've got
Okay.
They got
Looks
a
like
vision.
Coral Cliffs has their coaching with them. Freedom, they are on spring break, so they came for the breakout sessions and then left, and they're going to watch the recording.
Oh, Okay.
Longview, I just visited with them. They're doing well. Looks like Katie's in with Lakeview. Oh, you know who we could check on is Salt Lake. I don't see Nate in there. And then Jolie's in with Sunset. Cami is in with Canyons. And Melanie is in with Vanguard. So do you want to check on Salt Lake or would you like
Sure.
me to?
Either way,
What would you prefer?
so we have we have Salt Lake and who?
Just Salt Lake
Oh,
does not have someone.
yeah, I'm happy to do it. Either way,
Okay.
yeah, that works.
I'll hang out here and let people in.
Okay, sounds good.
When you're reaching out.
Could you put me in number 2?
It's hard.
Yes, I would be happy to.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move you to 2. All right.
STEM vision and action plan to module 4. And so that you can see the progression. So each time we'll resubmit those. So thank you again. It's exciting to see how everybody is progressing and the plans you're making. And I now will just hand it over to Melissa.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for your hard work. This is rigorous work when you look at making these action plans and considering all the stakeholders and how you're going to make sure that you have the proper supports in place. Thank you for all you're doing. Just as Rachel said, please make sure you remember to resubmit your revised vision and action plan. And you can do that through this PowerPoint. You can do it going into the Canvas module. Also from, hang on, I'm going to escape for just a minute to show you. Your assignment 2 from this morning. Everyone should be able to submit that. Oh, I guess got rid of it. So never mind, I will not show you that. So make sure that you submit your assignment 2. Also, I wanted to let you know that in the Canvas course, we are on module 4. So there's day 1, day 2, module 3 is day 3, module 4 is today. I have gone in and added the resources from your breakout room sessions. All right. So I am just waiting for the 712 IC, but other than that, everything should be in here. So if you wanted to look back over any of the presentations or look at other ones, those resources are there. We are going to take a break. I know that afternoons get kind of challenging. So we're going to take a break and be back. We'll start right at 2:20. Nate Ock will be the Fearless STEM Team Coordinator. We'll be here to help you look at your stakeholder plan and getting that all ready to go because we are coming to the end of this institute. We only have 1 day left. So enjoy your break and we'll see you at 2:20. Okay, 1 minute and we will get rolling. So be ready to start in 1 minute. Okay, my friends. Thank you. We are on the home stretch of a great day, I hope, for you. I'll turn the time over now to Nathan Ock, who will lead us in kind of our last big section.
Excellent. Thanks, Melissa. I'm excited to continue this conversation surrounding stakeholder feedback and buy-in. And today is kind of the day where we start to traverse that slash. Up to this point, our conversations with regards to stakeholders have largely revolved around how to incorporate them into a process, how to give them a place and a voice with regards to how they can interact and feel like they're a part of the ecosystems that you're all building. And today, we're going to start thinking about not only how can they be a part of it, but how can they actually buy into it? And how can we get support from a kind of broader cross-section of your entire community within this process? Thank you, Melissa. So what I would love to start with, and you can either throw this into the chat or feel free to jump off the mic. We have talked about in previous days in what ways we have, well, I guess first we talked about what stakeholders we need to incorporate into this process. And then we also talked about conduits or vehicles for engaging them in feedback. And what are all the ways that we can do this? And so today, this section of stakeholder feedback is kind of like a microcosm of the kind of structure of this entire institute. Melissa has done a great job of setting this process up to be a continuous cycle of improvement. So each day you have the opportunity to look at your vision and to look at your kind of action plan. And based on the new learning that goes on and the collaborative experiences that you have, you can update those in order to improve with each draft or each revision. And so today we're going to be thinking about the experiences and feedback that you've gotten with regards to engaging with your stakeholders and how to improve that process going forward. But not only improve the process for engaging them in feedback, but also to start to help them to buy into the entire vision. Now that it's starting to crystallize and get a little firmer, we're on day 4 of 5 within that process of vision creation. So what I would like some volunteers to put into the chat or to come off the mic and verbalize is, in what ways has your stakeholder feedback and buy-in plan changed between the beginning of the Institute and the work that you did between day 3 and today? What shifts did you see, either based on the feedback that you were given or based on the kind of experiences that you engaged with? And let me broaden that a little. Not only like how did your feedback plan change, but how did the entire vision, mission, and action plan change based on the feedback that you got from stakeholders?
Nathan?
Yeah.
This is Shauna at Washington County School District.
Hey,
So
Shauna.
I'll tell you it's kind of a theoretical switch that we've made, and then also some alterations we've made to our plan. So initially we just had stakeholders all lumped together, just as stakeholders. But as we've worked through this, we have separated those out into stakeholders, and those are the people that we're accountable to. So those are our students and our parents. So those are the people that we're accountable to. And I know this is just a vocabulary changed, but it made sense to us. So then besides stakeholders, in a different subgroup, we have our partnerships. So we have people that we're partnering with that we can help them with their goals and they can help us with our goals. So we've kind of articulated it and defined it that way. So by doing that, we've broadened our outlook on who are our partners in our STEM mission. So we identified our local high school today as a partner in our STEM vision because we feed to them. They have CTE pathways. We want to support them in their CTE pathways, but in the same mode of that, they're supporting us with our STEM vision because they're sending groups of students down here to help us with our STEM, but that supports their CTE vision as well. Anyway, so I hope that makes sense, but we, just for our own understanding, we separated people that we're accountable to and then people we have partnerships with, so that we could kind of get a more clear vision. And that's helped us broaden like who are our partners and who else could be our partner. So that's what we've done since we've started.
That's awesome, Shauna. Thanks for sharing. I love the intention that went into the conversations that must have resulted in like, oh, the actions that we have to take with this group of people, the stakeholders, is different than the actions that we need to engage with connected to the partnerships. And so that helped to kind of bring more precision to the work that everyone's responsible for. Awesome. That's a great example. It looks like April in the chat is talking about instead of doing all of the work ourselves, we're trying to create a team that we can then create action items connected to. And I know in our conversations within the Salt Lake City School District this morning, that was one of the norms at the beginning. And then I've seen them attend to it is like, let's make sure that we're not just having these conversations about vision and like all the things that we want to do, but let's also make sure that we're assigning specific action items to individuals within the group so that we can see some progress in moving forward the initiatives, whether it was conversations surrounding visions and action plans, or it could also be adaptable to stakeholder feedback. Maybe one other piece of insight that in some way that your work has changed throughout this process based on stakeholder feedback, or maybe partner feedback based on Shauna's comments. I always try to think about the balance of my wait time late in the day. I think more wait time is needed, but I also don't want to leave too much. Okay, so we're going to take the next 22 minutes roughly. We'll come back at 2:50, and your tasks are threefold. So the first two are going to sound familiar. What do we need to inform stakeholders about? Give me 1 second, Melissa. You can go back to that last slide. Thank you. So what do we need to inform stakeholders about with regards to the changes that you made today connected to vision and action plan? And then how will you get feedback again? So this will be kind of analogous to the experiences that you've had in between institutes and at each of the conversations at the end of the day in previous institutes. And this conversation has probably started to happen organically already. I don't know that we've asked specifically, like now we're kind of moving from just feedback opportunities to buy-in. In what ways can we get support from those stakeholders in order for them to buy into the vision? So those are the three kind of questions that will guide conversations at this point. And you may also be interested in using this time to kind of finish up some conversations that were going on last time, but we will come back together for a closing at 2:50. That is 22 minutes from now. Any questions, comments, concerns before we move to breakout rooms? Feel free to go to the next slide, Melissa. And jump back into those breakout rooms. We'll see you back here in 22 minutes.
you.